But I'd like to start off by first expressing my gratitude to Conrad, Jane, and the rest of the Can Fun team for having me on this afternoon to really let you know a little bit about my journey in sport. I'd also like to say thank you to all of you tuning in today. I often say one of the best parts of being a professional athlete is having a chance to share my experiences and the lessons I've learned through sport to a broader audience. So thank you, everyone. Obviously, right now, we're in a unique time, not just in sport. COVID-19 has changed the landscape of our daily lives over the last month. There's no clear end in sight, and more changes are likely to be announced every day. This unique time reigns very true for myself as an athlete. This week, I should have been competing in Mexico, with 8 other qualification events following, leading up to ultimately what should have been my first Olympic Games. As of today, all of these events have been canceled. There are no more qualification events prior to the previously scheduled 2020 Olympic Games. My training schedule has been thrown completely off. My training center is closed, all for an undetermined amount of time. As you know, yesterday, the Canadian Olympic Committee announced there would be no representation at the 2020 Olympic Games should they not be postponed. And this morning, the IOC officially postponed the Olympics until 2021. It's been a challenging week, to say the least. But challenges are the expectation, not the anomaly when it comes to sport. And the lessons we learn through sport are what serve us most in these challenging times, both on and off the court. That is what I hope to provide you with some insight on today. What are these life lessons that I've learned through sport? Sport has been an amazing experience in my life, full of highs and a fair share of lows. I'm incredibly thankful for those experiences that I've had through representing Canada at over 100 international events as a member of the Canadian national beach volleyball team. These experiences most certainly have not only made me a better athlete, but a better person as well. My athletic career, much like my life, has really been anything but a linear process. In 2016, I was unexpectedly put in a position to represent Canada at the Rio Olympics. It came down to a single game. Win, and I go to the games. Lose, and I watch those games from my couch. I lost that game. I never went to the 2016 Olympics. But that experience set off a cascade of learning that has served me to a far greater degree than I ever thought possible. Using this experience as a catalyst, I was finally able to begin to use sport to become the best version of myself. Sport taught me you're not defined by your wins and losses. You're not even defined by your sport, your job, or your hobbies. These are things you do, but they're not wholly you. Whether you win or you lose, you're successful or unsuccessful, however you may define what that is, you as a person remain the same. Your values, your beliefs, what really makes you doesn't change. For a long time following that loss in 2016, I thought I was a failure because I'd missed those Olympics. It wasn't until I took a step back and truly understood that this loss, or any loss, didn't define who I was. By accepting that, I was finally able to put that experience in the past. Win or lose, I will always be someone who wants to help others be the best version of themselves. Someone who is willing to explore the limits of their own possibilities. And somebody who wants to make a difference in those who are looking to expand their own potential in order to achieve what they previously thought impossible. Defining who I was and truly understanding that my success and my failures did not change who that person was one of the most powerful lessons the sport taught me. Sport has taught me that no matter what, I will always be me. Sport taught me to expect the unexpected in life. If you have a plan laid out, I can guarantee you sport has a different one. I've spent an immense amount of time planning out training camps in the United States only to have somebody get injured the day before we leave. Put together entire season plans only to have multiple tournaments canceled the week before because of promoter problems. I've spent the last 8 years training to peak for what I thought would be my first Olympics, for there only to be a global pandemic 4 months leading up to the games. The unexpected happens. It's how we react to these situations that truly matters. How do you control your emotions? Are you adaptable? Do you trust the process you and your team have laid out for yourself? This unexpected nature of sport has provided a training ground for how I am able to deal with these bumps in life. I've learned 3 deep breaths can be life-changing, whether it be before match point at the World Championships, after learning you may miss another Olympics, or having received bad news about a loved one. Sport has taught me to be adaptable to the unexpected. Sport has taught me to be comfortable being uncomfortable. In sport, the pressure to perform is immense. That pressure can become uncomfortable incredibly quick. It can be used to drive amazing performances, and even some we wish we could forget. Sport has taught me to embrace those feelings and find stillness in that discomfort. It's taught me to ask questions in these situations. Why am I feeling this way? Is that feeling internally or externally driven? What is the worst case scenario? When you ask and answer these questions, oftentimes logic is going to trump emotion. We're uncomfortable, likely because we're scared. We're scared of losing, we're scared of labels, we're scared of confrontation. But when we know, no matter the outcome, we'll rise the next day the same person, sometimes that pressure dissolves. We remember to play free and find out why we are there to compete. For the love of the game. Sport has taught me to find comfort in these uncomfortable situations. Sport has taught me to master my mind. We've all heard the saying, the only thing getting in the way of your success is yourself. That ranged true for me. In my case, it was my mind, my mental fortitude. We know sport is tough. It's unexpected and it's full of ups and downs. And we know our bodies will continue long after our minds have given up. When it has convinced us we're down and out, and when it's told us we can't do it. Sport taught me to understand and appreciate the thoughts I was having in order to recognize when they were speaking truths or creating stories. It taught me to master my thinking in order to get out of my own way, both on and off the court. Through lots of practice, sport has taught me that nothing can break me mentally. Sport has taught me that I am enough. It's easy to always be looking for that 1%. How can we get a little bit better tomorrow? What am I missing? It's easy to get caught up looking for those weaknesses and truly forget what makes you great. It's especially easy when you're training or your results are not meeting your expectations at that current time. It's in these times that sport has taught me to remind myself that I am enough. That despite these very specific and minute areas where I can improve, I still have greatness within myself. I won't let these seeking thoughts overshadow the years of mental and physical dedication that I have put in. I won't let them convince me that I'm not good enough. I am good enough to reach my goals. I'm good enough to be successful. I'm good enough to be happy. Because sport has taught me that I am enough in all aspects of my life. I often get asked what's my biggest achievement, as well as what's my biggest disappointment in sport. People expect me to say my biggest achievement is something along the lines of continuously being ranked in the top 20 in the world for beach volleyball. They like to bring up the Commonwealth Games and the silver medal performance. They expect me to continue to dwell on the 2016 Olympics when they're looking for that disappointing moment. But to me, sport is about so much more than a ball and a court. It's taught me lessons I never would have learned if I didn't participate. If you were to ask me today how I would answer that question, I think you might be surprised. My biggest achievement in sport is that through its teachings, I was truly able to start to understand who I am in order to become that best version of myself. I'm only disappointed in the fact that it took me so long to actually start becoming that person. All of you watching here today have the opportunity to use sport to learn more about yourself. How do you want to act? How do you want to think? Who do you want to be? The lessons you learn in sport are lessons to be applied to your broader life. Master these lessons on the court, and I can guarantee you they will serve you in potentially unexpected ways outside of it. I encourage you to adopt this mindset, because in doing so, sport will become irrelevant, because you will ultimately be a champion in life. All right, Conrad asking about the qualification process, something he's familiar with. So beach volleyball has probably the longest qualification process out of any sport. Our qualification process this year was actually extended. It was previously 12 months. Now it's 18 months. So it's a year and a half long. You think Evan, our race walker, he finished third at the World Championships. Boom, Olympics, right? One event, you're good to go. Congratulations, Evan. For us, we have to play at least 12 events. And they take your best 12 scores. So you're ultimately going to play somewhere between, we've played 17 events. We've played the most out of anyone in the world in the Olympic qualification process right now. And they'll count our best 12. So we're going to go to as many as we can to get those best 12 results, which is challenging, both financially, mentally, being away from home for so long, and physically. But our qualification process is lengthy and grueling. And you see that among the athletes as the process continues, because there's athletes who break down. And I think that that's a strength of our team, is that we've been able to consistently perform over an extended period of time. And that's why we've, put ourselves in a position now where we have to finish above top 10 in the world in order to actually improve. So it's challenging. And I think the other thing too is, if we use Evan as an example again, the World Championships were quite a while ago now for for track and field, race walking in his case. But now he knows he's going, and he has a significant amount of time to really prepare for that. Our last event is a week before the Olympics. Our last qualification event is 4 weeks before the Olympics. So it's challenging to separate qualification from performance at the games in our sport, because you might not know you're qualified until immediately before. And I really think that that's one of the downfalls of our sport, and makes it really challenging to have that command performance. So the next question is, how does being a physiotherapist help with my training? So I graduated from my Master's of Physical Therapy in 2012 from the University of Western Ontario. And I think what that did was really provide a foundation of knowledge to help me better understand, why I'm doing what I'm doing off the court. And it helped me understand how to put myself in the best position to be able to continue to perform at that level, with whether it be through, corrective exercises or rehab or recovery. I'm definitely one of those people who enjoy understanding the background science or research behind why we're doing something. And I think that that's what's allowed me to be healthy, turning 33 this year, and still being able to perform at what I consider now my highest level. Unfortunately, the nature of our sport doesn't allow me to practice. So I am, keeping up with my skills through online learning. much like a previous Olympian of ours, Josh Binstock, who after retiring, now is a practicing chiropractor. So, as the transition out of sport occurs, I'll use the things that I've learned being a professional athlete in my physiotherapy career, much the same way that I've used what I've learned through physiotherapy to help my athletic career. Partner relationships. So Conrad, just throwing them out. He knows all of them. So yeah, I think something that maybe people don't realize about beach volleyball is, I spend almost some years more time in a hotel room with my partner than I do days of the year with my wife. That's just the reality of our sport. I'm sharing a hotel room. I'm taking the same flights. We're coordinating travel, and then we're competing together. So there's challenges associated with that. Just like any relationship, I think you need to understand that there's going to be challenges and then collaboratively come up with a way to, deal with those together in a positive way. And I think Sam and I have done a good job of, being open with each other and being vulnerable and not being afraid to have those conversations, and understand that by, having some of those difficult conversations, we're becoming better teammates, better friends, and we're better able to perform on the court. A lot of people at our level, from a physical standpoint, they're all equal. We're all phenomenal athletes, but what it comes down to is mindset and relationship. If you can control your mind and not let the relationship break with your partner out of frustration, it's really difficult to beat a team. And I think that that's something that we've really focused on in the last 2 seasons since we started working with our coach, Aaron Cadu, who's also a former international FIVB player. And it's really paid dividends. And we worked exceptionally hard on it this off season, and we're really looking forward to putting it to the test. And we got one event in Doha where we played really well. We're looking forward to continuing. And so now we're doing a little bit more relationship work over Skype and Zoom to make sure we don't take a step back. So I've been a CanFund recipient twice now, leading into the 2016 Olympics and leading into this Olympics. And I think one of the things that people don't understand is that although we are professional athletes, we're not compensated in the way that you're playing in the NHL or the NBA or probably even close to what most of you have a full-time job. So it is for the love of the game. And donations and sponsorship from something like CanFund is, season changing. It allows us to not think about it. It creeps in every once in a while, like, hey, I should get a part-time job because I'm hurting right now. And, then you get that call from Conrad. Thankfully, you didn't go get that part-time job because that wasn't going to do anything positive for your training. So that's what CanFund does. It provides peace of mind. It allows you to focus on your sport to be your best, because if you're distracted by, having to make sure that you got to get to work, or you're not going to be able to pay for your next flight, so you got to start to figure out and dedicate mental energy to where you're going to find that money, your performance is going to be affected. And to have CanFund behind you it's calming. It really helps.